Hello and welcome to Richard August, the autistic Christian MGTOW, the red pill man who lights it up blue. This is today's reading from the apocryphal text of the Holy Scriptures. Today's reading is from the first three chapters of the book of Judith. And may God add his richest blessing to this reading of his holy word from my 1599 Geneva Bible. Judith chapter 1. In the 12th year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, who reigned in Nineveh, the great city, in the days of Arphaxad, which reigned over the Medes in Ecbatani, and built in Ecbatani the walls round about of hewn stone, 3 cubits broad and 6 cubits long, and made the height of the wall 70 cubits, and the breadth thereof 50 cubits, and made the towers thereof in the gates of it 100 cubits, and in the breadth thereof in the foundation 60 cubits, and made the gates thereof, even the gates that were lifted up on high, 70 cubits, and the breadth of them 40 cubits, for the going forth of his mighty armies, and for the setting in array of his footmen. Even in those days King Nebuchadnezzar made war with King Arphaxad in the great field, which is the field in the coasts of Ragau. Then came unto him all they that dwelt in the mountains, and all that dwelt by Euphrates, and Tigris, and Hydaspes, and the country of Arioch the king of the Elymians. And very many nations assembled themselves to the battle of the sons of Kelod. And Nebuchadnezzar king of the Assyrians sent unto all that dwelt in Persia, and to all that dwelt in the west, and to all those that dwelt in Cilicia and Damascus, and Libanus, and Anti-Libanus, and to all that dwelt upon the sea coast, and to the people that are in Carmel and Balaad, and the air of Galilee, and the great field of Esdraelon, and to all that were in Samaria and the cities thereof, and beyond Jordan unto Jerusalem, and Bethany, and Kelos, and Cadiz, and the river of Egypt, and Taphnes, and Ramesses, and all the land of Gesem. Unto one come to Tanis and Memphis, and to all the inhabitants of Egypt, and to one come to the mountains of Ethiopia. But all the inhabitants of this country did not pass for the commandment of Nebuchadnezzar king of the Assyrians, neither would they come with him to the battle, for they did not fear him. Yea, he was before them as one man, therefore they sent away his ambassadors from them without effect and with dishonor. Therefore Nebuchadnezzar was very angry with all his country, and swore by his throne and kingdom that he would surely be avenged upon all those coasts of Cilicia and Damascus and Syria, and that he would slay with the sword all the inhabitants of the land of Moab, and the children of Ammon, and all Judea, and all that were in Egypt, until one come to the borders of the 2 seas. Then he marched in battle array with his power against King Arphaxad in the 17th year, and he prevailed in his battle. For he overthrew all the power of Arphaxad, and all his horsemen, and all his chariots. And he won his cities, and came unto Ecbatana, and took the towers, and spoiled the streets thereof, and turned the beauty thereof into shame. He also took Arphaxad in the mountains of Ragau, and smote him through with his darts, and destroyed him utterly that day. So he returned afterward to Nineveh, both he and all his companies, with a very great multitude of men of war, and there he passed the time, and banqueted, both he and his army 120 days. Judith chapter 2. And in the 18th year, the 22nd day of the first month, there was talk in the house of Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, that he should avenge himself on all the earth as he had spoken. So he called unto him all his officers and all his nobles, and communicated with them his secret counsel, and set before them with his own mouth all the malice of the earth. Then they decreed to destroy all flesh that had not obeyed the commandment of his mouth. And when he had ended his counsel, Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, called Holofernes, his chief captain, and which was next unto him, and said unto him, Thus saith the great king, the Lord of the whole earth, Behold, thou shalt go forth from my presence, and take with thee men that trust in their own strength, of footmen 120,000, and the number of horses with their riders 12,000. And thou shalt go against all the west country, because they disobeyed my commandment. And thou shalt declare unto them that they prepare for me the land and the water, for I will go forth in my wrath against them, and will cover the whole face of the earth with the feet of mine army, and I will give them as a spoil unto them, so that their wounded shall fill their valleys and their rivers, and the flood shall overflow, being filled with their dead. And I will bring their captivity to the utmost parts of all the earth. Thou therefore shalt depart hence, and take up for me all their country, and if they yield unto thee, thou shalt reserve them for me until the day that I rebuke them. But concerning them that rebel, let not thine eye spare them, but put them to death, and spoil them wheresoever thou goest. For as I live in the power of my kingdom, whatsoever I have spoken, that will I do by mine hand. And take thou heed that thou transgress not any of the commandments of thy Lord, but accomplish them fully, as I have commanded thee, and differ not to do them. Then Holofernes went forth from the presence of his lord, and called all the governors and captains and officers of the army of Assur, and he mustered the chosen men for the battle, as his lord had commanded him, unto 120,000 and 12,000 archers on horseback. And he set them in array according to the manner of setting a great army in array. And he took camels and asses for their burdens, a very great number, and sheep and oxen and goats without number for their provision, and victuals for every man of the army, and very much gold and silver out of the king's house. Then he went forth in all his power to go before in the voyage of King Nebuchadnezzar, and to cover all the face of the earth westward with their chariots and horsemen and chosen footmen. A great multitude also of sundry sorts came with them like grasshoppers, and like the gravel of the earth, for the multitude was without number. And they went forth of Nineveh 3 days' journey toward the country of Bechteleth, and pitched from Bechteleth near the mountain which is at the left hand of the upper Cilicia. Then he took all his army, his footmen and horsemen and chariots, and went from thence into the mountains. And he destroyed Phud and Lud, and spoiled all the children of Races, and the children of Ismael, which were toward the wilderness at the south of the Chilians. Then he went over Euphrates, and went through Mesopotamia, and destroyed all the high cities that were upon the river of Arbonai, until one come to the sea. And he took the borders of Cilicia, and destroyed all that resisted him, and came to the borders of Japheth, which were toward the south, and over against Arabia. He compassed also all the children of Midian, and burnt up their tabernacles, and spoiled their lodges. Then he went down into the country of Damascus in the time of wheat harvest, and burnt up all their fields, and destroyed their flocks and the herds. He robbed their cities, and spoiled their country, and smote all their young men with the edge of the sword. Therefore fear and trembling fell upon all the inhabitants of the sea coast, which were in Sidon and Tyrus, and them that dwelt in Sur and Elkanah, and all that dwelt in Gemnaan, and they that dwelt in Azotus and Askelon feared him greatly. Judith chapter 3. So they sent ambassadors to him with messages of peace, saying, Behold, we are the servants of Nebuchadnezzar the great king. We lie down before thee. Use us as shall be good in thy sight. Behold, our houses and all our places, and all our fields of wheat, and our flocks, and our herds, and all our lodges and tabernacles lie before thy face. Use them as it pleaseth thee. Behold, even our cities and the inhabitants thereof are thy servants. Come and take them, as seemeth good to thee. So the men came to Holofernes, and declared unto them after this manner. Then came he down toward the sea coast, both he and his army, and set garrisons in the high cities, and took out of them chosen men for the war. So they and all the country round about received them with crowns, and with dances, and with timbrels. Yet he brake down all their borders, and cut down their woods. For it was enjoyed him to destroy all the gods of the land, that the nations should worship Nebuchadnezzar only, and that all tongues and tribes should call upon him as God. Also he came out against Esdraelon, near unto Judea, over against the great strait of Judea. And he pitched between Geba and a city of the Scythians, and there he tarried a month, that he might assemble all the baggage of his army. This has been today's reading from the apocryphal text of the Bible, Judith chapters 1 through 3 from my 1599 Geneva Bible. This has been Richard August, the autistic Christian MGTOW, the red pill man who lights it up blue. And I thank you for watching and listening. And I invite you to like and share this video with others and to subscribe to my video channel. And I invite you back tomorrow for further readings from the Bible's apocryphal book of Judith.